What do you think of the recent interest towards NFTs? Do you think this is the much needed revolution and transparency for fairer payments in the music industry that will actually materialize? And do you guys have any plans to think about incorporating them in your work maybe someday?
I think it's always great when the status quo gets shaken up, regardless of what that is. And I think 20 years ago, we had Napster come along with free and all sort of digital assets basically were worth nothing, and now you have people paying exorbitant amounts of money to own digital assets. So I think that like there's always been a lag with technology and finding either compensation or finding ways to regulate it. And every time you think you have it under control, something new comes along and shakes the boat up again. And I think this time is the first time it's sort of given the power to the people, which is the most exciting thing. It's given the power to the artists and the people that create the content to sort of like find distribution channels and release it. And so I think in that sense, it's extremely exciting. And I think, we were discussing this the other day. This business is so complicated. There's so many facets to like when you release music, where it goes and how people collect from it. And like, you have to get different statements from YouTube and from Spotify and from Apple, and then from the sales of the records, and like everything is just, it's not centralized, and there's room for human error. And then every once in a while, someone has to go collect this. There's so much mess, and it's a lot of it was designed to intentionally be complicated so that like the average musician couldn't understand it, so I think seeing like here's where the buck stops. This is like you can write all the copyright data into the files. I think it's amazing, and I think it's gonna have labels hopefully adjust some of their policies. It's gonna make things more transparent, like you said, which will then benefit sort of everyone in the long run. Maybe not the people who are unfairly capitalizing on things, but it'll benefit the people that deserve or have written the material, which I think is great. And then as far as us coming up with something, there's nothing concrete yet. I mean, of course, you always want to, especially I think artists that make electronic music that have used technology to their advantage, you always want to embrace technology because it's done you well thus far, so we don't have anything concrete, but we would love to get involved somehow if we can.
Awesome. Do you have anything to add to that,
Not really. I think we've always been excited about blockchain, and which is what it's based on. And I think that the transparency and the accuracy that can provide would only benefit creative people. And I think that we hope that gets adopted as much as possible. And I think that the recent NFT boom is a step towards that becoming reality. So that's exciting. We don't totally understand that what's happening right now sort of seems like a little bit like a bubble, but we don't really understand the craziness that's happening. But we've been excited about blockchain for years, and this is a major step towards adoption of that technology into art and music. So from that perspective, we're very stoked.
Listen to more insights on the Mission Makers podcast through Apple, Spotify, and YouTube.